So I want to make sure that we draw some attention to that. Have you guys gotten an opportunity to look at that and to kind of tweak it? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
No, I'll have to go back and look at that.
Okay. Just so I know, is this a good time? Generally a good time for you, Erica, or not generally a good time? 2 o'clock on Friday.
Oh no, yeah, this is fine.
Okay, and Greta, you're good for this time, right? Not really? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, sometimes it's hit or miss.
Okay. Just so you know, we also have an 11 o'clock Wednesday, 11:20 on Wednesday, or Thursday at 3. Are any of those times better for either of you?
I've been working a little bit on the side and the hours are kind of all over the place. So some days I might have to jump in on a different time, but so far this one's been working pretty well for me. But if there is a time where I need to like get in on a different one, I'll definitely let you know ahead of time.
Yeah, I'd rather you pop into a different one than not get spoken to or ask for help each week or something. Okay.
Yeah.
So please make sure. I'm going to try to in this week's email, I'm going to try to put together some of these ideas a little bit more clearly in the weekly email. But just to give you a rough idea, there's a couple of documents that I think are particularly important for you guys to review, or videos to review, which talk a little bit about the second quarter plan. There's the 2Q foundational plan, and then there's also the 2021 GPS. And on the second page of that is the second quarter one. So talk to me a little bit. Hang on one second. What's up, Heather?
Hi.
You just coming to hang out today?
Oh, I thought this was the mastermind thing. Is it not? My bad. Just kidding. I'll leave.
No. You're more than welcome to stay. This is a small group number 4.
I think I'm in the wrong room. I'm sorry. I'll let you guys go. Bye.
That's okay.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about what are you guys encountering out there in the marketplace? What's the most important thing that I can help you with today?
I guess for me, I remember when I first started all these team meetings, it's talking about your database, the people in your phone. I'm 22. People my age, people in my phone, they're not buying houses, they're not selling houses. So I'm looking at my contact list and I'm like, God, none of these people I could reach out to. Because
right.
Yeah, I'm definitely not in a spot to buy or sell a house, and people I know aren't in that position either. So it's been a little hard in that area. So I kind of like to know how I can get other people and not just people on my phone, because that's not very useful at this point. This stage is not very useful.
So the first thing I would say is I would challenge a little bit of that thinking, just to say that you never know, right? So if somebody has a job, they're going to have to live somewhere, right? Assuming they're not living with their parents or something, they're going to have to live somewhere, which means they're going to be renting. And then the question becomes, is it a more strategic idea in the long run to buy versus renting? And I think we all believe that the answer is yes to that. So if somebody is, kind of on their way up, so to speak, right? They've got a job, they're making money, they've coupled up or whatever, and they appear to be kind of on the adult path. At some point in the future, they're going to want a relationship with a real estate agent, and why can't it be you? So I do think that, yes, you're probably not going to get quite as good of a conversion from the people that you're most close with, but also, that doesn't mean that you just don't get any business. It means you're going to have to grow your database through some other mechanism, right? So if I was you, I would be hosting open houses every single weekend. You're probably going to need to call some for sale by owners and expired listings, maybe some cold calling, maybe some door knocking, maybe be pretty active social media wise. Go in and connect with everyone you possibly can on LinkedIn. There's probably some old colleagues or you know, people from college or whatever that that LinkedIn basically says, oh, you should be friends with this person, or you like have a connection with this person, something of that nature, right? So
Yeah.
here's the deal. If like, let's say you're brand new to town and you don't know a single person in town, you're faced with a challenge, right? I don't have anyone to help. You got two ways
Yeah.
of dealing with that challenge. You can either say, well, I ain't got no one to help. I'm new to town. I'm young. No one in my database wants to buy anything. And that's kind of the end of the discussion. Or you say, well, because I don't have what I need currently, I just have to get out there and start meeting people, right? So you can go and speak to home related vendors. You can go and speak to any business professionals. You could join some networking groups. You can, you know, introduce yourself to strangers everywhere you go, whether it be the gym or the coffee shop or any of these things. I mean, at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen until we build relationships with people. And if the people
Yeah.
that we merely have relationships right now are not great contenders to buy or sell, we got a choice. We can either do nothing about that, or we can do something about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would give yourself like a target. Say, hey, my goal is to add, you know, 2 people to my database a day, or 3 people to my database a day, so that I can start growing some stuff. Right.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I would be pushing extra hard on the learning. Right. The learning, by the way, is, you know, studying the scripts and the objection handlers, reading them over and over and over and over and over again until they just come out of your mouth, right? Studying the buyer presentation and the seller presentation, really studying the marketplace, right? So if you've got your lockbox key, you say, hey, today I'm going to figure out Marietta, right? And go look at a handful of places that cost 200, a handful of places that cost 300, a handful of places that cost 400, a handful of places that cost 500, right? And that way you start to learn your way around. Okay, where are the schools? Where's the highway? Where's the grocery store? Where's the shopping centers, right? And if somebody were to say to you, hey, Erica, I'm looking for a brand new 5-bedroom home in Alpharetta with a finished basement, and just send me everything that's under 300. You don't say, okay, great, sounds awesome. I'll go home. I'm sure there's lots of masters, and I'll send them all to you, because that hadn't existed since 1985. Okay, so you got to know the market good enough to know, like, if somebody's going to live inside the perimeter in Sandy Springs and they wouldn't want a single family home, they'll be lucky to find anything below 450, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody says, hey, I'm pre-qualified, I'm good to 185, they're not going to live in a single family home inside the perimeter, most likely, right? So we need to commit to learning the market, commit to learning the contracts. So each week or each day, maybe you take a contract, you read it through, you say to yourself, do I understand this, right? Do I have any questions on any of the language here? In our YouTube page, which hopefully everyone is a subscriber and getting notifications and everything, what am I trying to say? There's videos on like explaining the financial contingencies and explaining the buyer brokerage agreement and the listing agreement, making sure that you know how to, you know, connect DocuSign to Command so you can, you know, write contracts. Because eventually, if you do what you're supposed to do, somebody's going to say, hey, I'm ready. Can I meet with you? Talk to me about being a seller. Talk to me about being a buyer. And you want to be prepared at that moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Another really good resource, of course, is our Google Drive and our YouTube channel, but also the emails that I send out each week. Make sure that you are really combing through those. The only reason why I put those specific videos in there, and I put them in there almost every week, is because I think they're the most relevant for people that are getting started.
Okay.
Make sense? Travis, what are you experiencing out there, sir? You're on mute.
Okay. Still working on, you know, getting over my fears of making the cold calls to FSBOs and expireds. I mean, it's getting better. Still working through it. Still working through it. It's just that, I guess, that fear of rejection.
Well, what about calling people you know? Why don't we get you some wins with people you know?
Okay.
Right? There's no reason. Look, if you were to say, let me give you guys all an assignment, okay? We talk a lot in here about the size of our database and the size of our pipeline. So at any time, I want to be able to ask any of you, anyone that's in real estate, I should be able to say, how many people in your database? And you should say 314. How many people in your pipeline? 17, right? I mean, you should literally be able to, that is like probably the two most important statistics in your business. It's like opening a bakery and I say, hey, how much do you pay for flour? And you're like, I don't know. I mean, that's like the most ridiculous thing in the world, right? Every person that runs a business needs to know the numbers of their business. That's the language, right? So if you have a database that is large enough to support your goals, there's a chance you may not ever have to call any strangers, right? So success in this business is not necessarily based on how do I overcome speaking to strangers. It's how do I deliver value to whoever wants me to deliver value to them, right? So if you haven't already taken the time to really put that database together and touch base with the people that already like you and trust you and know you're a hard worker and know you take things seriously and know you're a person of integrity, then you're not even giving yourself, you're fishing out of you're fishing out of the wrong pond right now.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So we want to fish where the fish are. Not to say the fish aren't in the, by calling strangers, but I mean, goodness, it's like, if you want to be a champion golfer, you don't go play against Tiger Woods on day one, right? You go, maybe Tiger Woods not a good example, but you got to get a little practice on the people you already know, or a role play partner, right? So Travis, if you're worried about your confidence and the way your voice sounds or whatever when you're on the phone and you're worried people can tell you're scared or whatever, let me ask you a blunt question. Who's your accountability partner or who's your role play partner? And how frequently are you chatting with them? And is that person a good partner, right? Let me give you a definition of a good partner. They're loyal, meaning like you say, hey, we're going to do this at 8:15 every morning for 15 minutes. The first day they don't show up and they're not like at the hospital with COVID, they're fired. You follow me? If you're my accountability partner, I need you to be accountable. It's not like we don't say, oh, I was a little late, I had too many drinks last night, let's start in 20 minutes, or oh, let's postpone it for today. No. I'm taking this real seriously. You're not taking this seriously, you can't work with me. Sorry. I'm not saying in PC, I'm saying it as an accountability partner. Okay. Make sense? So Travis, if you don't have one of those, put it on the message board. Hey, I'm looking for a script practice partner this day, this time, and hold that person to high standards. And don't be surprised if they don't hold you to high standards. So if you screw up one of those meetings, don't be surprised if you get fired. You should get fired. I hate to say it that way, but you should. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. Because I want, if I'm going to carve out time on my calendar, I want that to be respected. Right. And we get in there and we say, okay, this week we're going to hit FSBOs hard, or we're going to hit expireds hard or whatever. And we're really going to flush out the scripts. And then you're going to give me an objection. Hey, I was thinking about paying 2%. Travis, will you take 2%? And there's only like 4 or 5 things that sellers say, that being one of them. Right. So you need to know how to respond to that. Right. So Travis, I appreciate your question. Hang on. Okay. I appreciate that question, Travis. What I find is that some agents do charge less, and that's because they should. Would you mind if I explain? Ooh, that's right. But if you say, yeah, I'll take 2%. Well, shit, you just lost a couple $1,000s potentially.
Sure.
Right. Or maybe they're testing you to say, well, gosh, that's you just showed me how good of a negotiator you are, and you kind of suck at negotiations. So I think I'm going to go hire somebody different.
Somebody else, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay. So remember, every single day is you gotta carve out time to learn, and you need to carve out time to grow your database, speak to people. Okay. And get more people in the database or get more data from the people that are already there. Okay. And all of those conversations are geared around trying to figure out when is the next person when is the next time this person intends to have a real estate transaction, and based on what their goal is, how can I deliver the right value at the right time so that they choose to work with me? Right? Travis, let me just ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
And this is not like this would be applicable for everyone. I just happen to be looking at you. You believe that you're like, if given the opportunity, you're gonna be an honest person, right?
Yes,
Okay, you're gonna work real hard, right?
yes,
If you don't know the answer to something, you're gonna find it out from somebody who does know the answer. Yes.
correct, yes.
Okay, if there's gonna be a lot of deadlines involved, you're gonna be particularly concerned about those deadlines.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
Make those
perfect. And you're gonna make sure that the offer or the contract that's in place protects your particular client. Is that right?
correct, yes.
Okay, so what are you afraid to make calls for? Okay,
Got it.
you're gonna do more stuff than the next guy that doesn't give a damn about it, or it doesn't have the right systems, or doesn't have a coach, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so if you don't make that call, they're gonna get called by a lousy agent.
Mhm.
Right? Or they're gonna go to their like friend's cousin's sister who just got their real estate license, never done anything.
Okay, got it,
Okay,
got it. Mhm.
does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so call some friends.
Okay.
Say, hey, I just got started in real estate, and you know how committed I am to doing things right. Do you have 30 minutes? I'd like to present my seller presentation to you, and you can give me some feedback.
Mm,
Call a friend. Hey, I just got into real estate. You know how I take things real seriously and I care real hard, and I want to make sure I protect everyone. Well, I know I need practice to get good. Can I make my buyer presentation to you, and you tell me some feedback?
mm. Okay,
Do you think that's a sign of weakness, or do you think that's a sign of professionalism?
professional.
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree.
Okay.
So guys, when we have an issue, when we have a challenge, whether it be I don't have a big enough database, or the wrong people are in the database, or I'm worried about making a call, or whatever it is. I mean, I know this is a little harsh, but either we can just say, all right, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, or we can do something about it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
Erica, this is
definitely.
like one of the first times we've talked, so I don't want you to think that I just get off being a jerk.
Oh no,
Right.
no, no, I didn't get that impression at all. Don't worry.
Okay, good, good. I mean, I'll tell you what I get off on. It's seeing you be successful.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, like I'm 22. I just started this. I still live with my parents. I live upstairs. So I was thinking, I was like, maybe I could, talk to some of my parents' friends. They're definitely in a spot,
Of
maybe
course.
close to retirement, that they want to like, get a smaller house or want to move somewhere else. So I was thinking maybe I could talk to them, but definitely people my age aren't the right people.
I don't know
But
if I would do that. Again, that's what I think you think that.
well, the people in my contact list, I like look through and I know where they're at for the most part. And I don't have a lot of people. And then some I just don't talk to. I don't even know some of these people in my phone. I see somebody named Josh. I'm like, who is Josh? I have no idea
It's
who
like
Josh is.
Uber driver from Spring Break 2019 in New
Pretty
Orleans or
much.
something.
I like
you could
see
probably
these
get rid of
names.
that
I'm
one.
like, who is this person?
Can I
Yeah, please,
Hey,
Greta, I'll
hey.
send it to you next.
just,
Go ahead.
Erica, I have children much older than you, and I would, I'm gonna mom you a bit, and I'm gonna challenge you. I've heard you say that you're 22 about 5 times. Don't say it
Yeah.
again. You're 22 and you're rocking 22,
Yeah.
Well, thank
and
you.
own your 22-ness.
No,
And
I love
be
being
like-
22.
yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is you're like saying it like I'm 22, I can't is the implication. I'm 22, it's a limitation, and it's not. It's actually a benefit to you, because in 5 years, you're going to be 27 and you're going to be killing it. You've got a lot more time than I do in the business. And you're right.
Yeah,
talk to
it's like
friends.
I'm
Talk
not
to-
like, it's not like I'm 22. I can't. I'm just saying like I do know like in the future, in 5 years, that I will be 27, still very young and have 5 years under my belt. But it's the people, I know I keep saying this, the people in my contact list, I know where they're at.
Yeah,
And
so
Do they have relationships with other people? Do they have bosses that they're in contact with? Do they have, cousins that are older? Do they have parents? I mean, you put it out there, and then if they're your friends, they're gonna look
Greta,
at.
you are making me feel like the biggest proud papa ever right now. Oh my
Also
gosh.
too, also too,
Oh,
if I,
wow.
if I could say something,
Yeah, please.
Erica, and kind of piggyback off of what Greta said, 22, that's an awesome thing. That's an awesome thing.
Thank you.
Just keep in mind, where you would like to be 6 months from now, a year from now.
That's
You'll be
right.
23, a year from now, you could put yourself in a way different position. And then guess what? Those friends that that may not be in a particular position, they'll see your success and say, hey, hold on, what is she doing? They may not necessarily want to get their real estate license, but they'll be interested to know what you're doing. And then from there, you can possibly educate, your friends on the importance of ownership, to kind of
Exactly.
guide. So
Thank you.
that's an awesome thing. Yeah, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, man.
Gary Keller says that the average person overestimates what they can do in 1 year and drastically underestimates what they can do in 5 years. Right?
No, I mean,
Way
I'm not,
underestimated.
I definitely am grateful I started young. So by the time I am, 10 years
Well,
from now.
I'll tell you, I started when I was 25. I didn't sell my first house till I was 26. It was my own personal property that I bought. I bought the cheapest home in the entire MLS. Okay, the
Wow.
entire freaking MLS. Okay, still own it. And I love my parents. I really do. But I have received 0 referrals from my father in 16 years. And I've received 1 referral from my mother in 16 years, and that person wanted to pay me 1%.
Oh my God.
And I have helped in my first like 3 or 4 years, I don't think I helped a single friend. So everyone that I
Wow.
helped at the beginning were strangers. And I'm not saying that's
Wow.
the only path, but I'm saying like you just got to go meet some people, right? And when you
Yeah.
share your successes and you share value and you share news about the real estate community, and you start to be viewed as the resource for real estate information and the economist of choice, then people will look at you, your peers will look at you and say, wow, she seems to be having a lot of fun, and wow, she seems to be making a big impact. And gosh, I just wrote my rent check for $1,900 a month, and perhaps I could get a bigger house or a better house or a home in a different area or whatever for the same amount of money. Right.
Yeah.
So all these people that, there's not that many cheap places to live anymore. Right. A lot of your friends that have jobs, they may be, coupled up or whatever or roommated up, and they're spending significant amount of money on rent. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I probably helped, I don't know, easily 100, probably more like 200 to 300 renters. Right.
Yeah.
And I would help 2 guys or 3 women or whatever, and then we'd all get together and they'd move into one place. And when the lease ended, I had 3 buyers.
Wow.
Right, or 2 buyers. You need to be in the collecting of data business right now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone will be wanting to do a transaction now. Your job is to figure out, do they have a need, and can you solve their need?
Yeah.
Right. Greta, you are making me so proud because, if I could be pretty candid, some of the things that Erica is saying today, you were saying 4 months ago, right?
Is that
3 months
so?
ago, 2 months ago,
Yeah.
right? And I think there was a moment for you, Greta, maybe you can speak to this, where you basically just said, like, look, I'm a smart woman, and I'm a hard worker, and I'm a social person. And I'm looking at people out there that are having deals that I know for a fact aren't any smarter than me. So I'm just going to do what they tell me to do, and I'm going to go rock it. And that's exactly what you've done. So and now, you know, one of the things that what leaders do, leaders rise to the top, and they rise to the top quickly, right? And that's what you are, because you're learning, and then immediately you're sharing, right? You're probably one of the very first people when somebody says, hey, where do I find this document, or how do I log on to here? Boom, Greta's helping, right? And I just want to publicly express my gratitude for that. And you keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to have more transactions than you can handle. And it's going to be awesome to be a part of. So I just want to remind you guys, take a real close look at the emails that I've been sending out. There's a lot of good videos on there about the business plans and about scripts and dialogues and presentations. Don't forget, every morning at 8:30, we've got our morning huddle. The morning huddle this morning, for example, is already on the YouTube page. I got a couple compliments on that, where we did a role play for a buyer presentation. I can't express to you how much this business is about confidence. When you know what to say, you're more confident. When you know what to say, you're not afraid to ask that extra question. We're not afraid to probe a little bit, because I know agents that they're so reluctant. They don't know how to do a presentation because they haven't carved time out on their calendar, or they're just not, you know, taking it seriously enough to do it. And they're afraid to ask for the business because they're afraid of getting the appointment. Well, guys, if you're afraid of getting the appointment, there's a long road to a closing table, right? So let's figure out, you know, somebody said to me the other day, what do the new people need to learn? The new people need to learn how to get an appointment and what to say on the appointment. If you can figure that out, you'll figure the tech out. When you got a contract, we'll help you with the contract, okay? But you got to get into relationships. You got to figure out what to say to get the appointment, and then what to say when you're on it. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, you guys. It's a pleasure being in business with you. If you need anything at any time, let us know. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thanks for the inspirational speeches. I really appreciate those.
Yeah, you didn't expect all that cool stuff, did you, Erica?
No, I did not, but I'm not disappointed.
All right, awesome. You got an extra community here to support you, okay? Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you. Y'all too.
You too. Happy
Bye.
birthday.
Thank you.